New info in the $2.5 million government plane debacle. First tonight on Our News Live at 7, why the PLP chairman says opposition criticism is much to do about nothing. This as the Free National Movement calls for a separation of powers for the House Speaker, claiming she's being bullied by government. Plus, the state-recognized funeral held at Christ Church Cathedral for the late Thomas Evans KC. Then in Our News at 7:30, bearing the burden of the high cost of power, residents on Grand Bahama plead for mercy from the power company. Our News Live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. New details about that $2.5 million aircraft government will acquire for use by the public service. The chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party firing back at opposition criticisms and claims the same aircraft was sold by a former F&M government.
The Office of the Prime Minister released a statement this week clarifying the seized repurposed aircraft that will be used for the transport of government officials throughout the island, which will alleviate any delays and added expenses to the public's purse. Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Fred Mitchell, taking his defense of the acquisition a step further, saying he believes the F&M is distracted by nonsense and should focus on other issues.
This is a confiscated aircraft. It's being converted to public use. And there's no issue with it. The F&M made a mistake in 1992 selling the aircraft in the first place. So there are, millions of dollars being spent. Economies can be employed as a result of it. And that's basically the argument.
But Mitchell did not stop there. He says,
you have the energy reform measures that have to take place. You have the housing issues which have to be addressed. You have the Grand Bahama Port Authority and its lack of performance. And then you have a history of a free national government administration that has been derelict in its duties toward the country.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
All right, thanks for that, Italia. Meanwhile, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says he believes House Speaker Patricia DeVoe is being bullied by government to do its bidding. It comes after the Speaker chastised Pintard after a recent House sitting. Pintard says the Speaker must understand she is not under the rule of government.
We feel that if there's any bullying in the House of Assembly, it's primarily by the front bench. Ministers of the government pushing the Speaker to make rulings that, in our estimation, are inappropriate and unfair. We've had members of government who've gotten up on points of orders that in our view are not points of orders, but they've been given latitude. Some of them have spoken for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and longer, and when you combine how long they've spoken, it's been for a long period of time.
And before that recent House sitting, Pintard was removed from Parliament after standing on a point of order. Pintard says what is needed is a true separation of powers.
We are not sent to the House of Assembly to be muzzled. We are prepared to speak up on behalf of our constituents and for the Bahamian people, and we continue to do that. What we need in the Bahamas is a separation of power in reality. We have three arms of the government: the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. The government of the Bahamas, the executive, should not be hamstringing, should not be tying up the legislature to do its bidding.
All right, and the opposition also levying criticism against the government ahead of the impending NIB rate increase. We've got that story coming up in Our News at 7:30. And a man is behind bars in relation to a near-fatal stabbing. 29-year-old Alano Springfield stood before Chief Magistrate Roberta Reckley charged with the attempted murder of Bernie Fenellis. The charge stems from a June 15th stabbing at Ryan's Bar on Nassau Street. Springfield didn't have to enter a plea to the charge and was denied bail. He returns to court on August 15th to be indicted. And a state-recognized funeral held for the late Thomas Evans KC at Christ Church Cathedral Friday. Members of government, the judiciary, armed forces, family, friends, and well-wishers all gathered to celebrate the life of the former acting Supreme Court Justice. Evans, a Nicholstown and Ross native, was a senior partner of Evans & Co., and served in a number of notable positions during his career. He also served as stipendiary and circuit magistrate, as well as Crown Counsel in the Attorney General's office. Evans is married to Senior Magistrate Carolyn Vo Evans and is the father of 5. He died back on June 5th at the age of 77. All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Candido, and happy TGIF, everybody. A warm day around the islands, a little bit on the breezy side, some spotty showers. Temperatures settling into the mid-80s right now, a few clouds. Your winds are out of the east-southeast at 15 miles per hour. Your feels-like temperature is at 90 degrees. Temperatures around the islands right now, it is 84 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Marsh Harbor, Abaco, also 84. Governor's Harbor, the Eleuthera area, 84 as well. Pick up 85s in Alistown, Bimini with some showers nearby, Great Harbor Key. Over in the Big Yard, Andros, Nicholstown, you guys are 86. Central Bahamas, 85. Kemps Bay, Georgetown. Pair of 84s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, and in Deadman's Key. And in Coburn Town, San Salvador, you guys are 88. And into the Southeast Bahamas, 85 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Kern Hill, Crooked Island. We pick up a few more 84s in Delectable Bay, Abrahams Bay, Providenciales, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and Mastertown, Inago, Deep South. You round out our temperature profile at 85 degrees. Taking a look at our satellite radar composite, ridge of high pressure at the surface still dominating our weather. That's providing us with some breezy conditions still, mainly across the central and southeast Bahamas. High level moisture moving out of the Gulf of Mexico as well as the southwestern Caribbean, spreading across the central and southeast Bahamas, Not really going to be producing any rainfall. Then we have that little disturbance, tropical disturbance to the north of us, Nash Hurricane Center basically is going to call that quits. It's going to be moving into the Jacksonville area, and that's going to be the end of that. But we will be watching that one down in the Southwest Caribbean. National Hurricane Center giving that one about a 60% chance for formation throughout the weekend. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on our news, an economist says a 44% decrease in exports not concerning after a National Statistical Institute report. And on Grand Bahama, we'll tell you how local organics is unlocking the future of fish farming in a push for food sustainability. When our news returns.
Is the dream of homeownership slipping away from the average Bahamian? With growing inflation and a widening wealth gap, are Bahamians being priced out of paradise? Join me, Berthany McDermott, as we venture into the heart of the housing crisis to find the answers. Hear from stakeholders, the government, those who overcame, and those still on the road to the Bahamian dream. Despite the challenges, hope remains. Discover the initiative that could turn the tide. Tune into RTV on June 26th at 8 p.m. for an in-depth dive into the affordable housing dilemma, only on RTV.
I feel like fathers are so important in all kids' lives. My dad, he was my inspiration growing up. He taught us that hard work and grit. And, it was a little tricky being coach and athlete, but I loved every bit of it. I don't think that I would have had the success that I have today if it wasn't for my dad being involved. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers around the world. Thank you for all that you do for us. We love you. Alive. Believe. Invest.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
Is the dream of homeownership slipping away from the average Bahamian? With growing inflation and a widening wealth gap, are Bahamians being priced out of paradise? Join me, Berthany McDermott, as we venture into the heart of the housing crisis to find the answers. Hear from stakeholders, the government, those who overcame, and those still on the road to the Bahamian dream. Despite the challenges, hope remains. Discover the initiative that could turn the tide. Tune into RTV on June 26th at 8 p.m. for an in-depth dive into the affordable housing dilemma, only on RTV.
I feel like fathers are so important in all kids' lives. My dad, he was my inspiration growing up. He taught us that hard work and grit. And, it was a little tricky being coach and athlete.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the country's economic pulse with revelations from the latest Bahamas National Statistical Institute report. New data shows exports from the country have decreased nearly 50% for the first quarter of this year, while imports have risen slightly. Our Joshua Williams spoke with an economist and former cabinet minister who helped to put the numbers into perspective.
The Bahamas National Statistical Institute's first quarter 2024 foreign trade report shows a 44% decrease in total exports from the country. However, former cabinet minister and economist Shivago Lang suggests there is no cause for concern. Lang telling our news quarterly numbers can fluctuate and points out the country's primary export is not tangible goods.
Our major export in the Bahamas is our services, and mainly tourism services. That's our major export. We don't export a lot of products.
The report also indicates total imports increased by less than 1% compared to last year. Specifically, the country imported food and live animals totaling $199 million, whereas exports in the same category amounted to only $24 million. Yet the question persists, are we importing too much food?
Not at all. That's an argument. If there are more people who go into agriculture and decide to grow our own food, that's wonderful. That's fantastic, right? Nobody can argue against that. But the fact of the matter is, when an economy is doing well, its imports actually increase because it means your people are able to afford to import more.
Overall, the Bahamas imported commodities totaling slightly over $1 billion, with the majority being machinery and heavy equipment. Lang expressing a need for the country to diversify.
The fact of the matter is the Bahamas needs to look to do business more with the rest of the world by way of selling to the rest of the world. So whether that's agricultural products or it's manufactured goods or it's some service that we can provide, the Bahamas needs to do more of that.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks for that, Josh. Meanwhile, food security. It's been a message pushed by successive governments over the past few decades, and one business owner in Grand Bahama says she's heeding the call. She's now growing local vegetables and seafood organically. Natalia Hong tells us more.
It's something new, it's something affordable, it's something local, and it's something organic.
Looking to purchase fresh, organic, local grown tilapia right here at home? Well, you can do so in Grand Bahama, as Local Organics owned by Tiffany Dennison carries the fish. She says tilapia has had a bad name in other countries because they are overfarmed, but that's not the case at Local Organics.
They've never been utilized, we've never utilized antibiotics or anything like that with them. We don't even use pesticides. So we have these very big tilapia. We cull them. We put them in the pool that I'm currently sitting in, and we use brackish water and let them swim in the brackish water for 2 weeks so they will taste more like snapper.
Once the fish is culled in the pool, which is constantly filtered for 2 weeks, they go on sale.
There's a couple of the grocery stores that do sell tilapia, a couple of restaurants that do. We will approach them. We already have, actually. And then we do a lot of stuff ourselves. We sell ourselves. We deliver to restaurants. We have farmers markets.
Dennison admits the demand is so high for the product that they are not able to supply the fish fast enough.
The plan for the business will indeed be to expand to a third aquaponic system. We also are looking into growing shrimp.
Now, this is a project the owner has been working on for over 10 years, but after Hurricane Dorian, she says she saw the importance of food security.
My goal and the goal of Local Organics is to really and truly be able to supply enough that, we have food sovereignty.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Natalia Hall.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as South Korea summons the Russian ambassador. Plus, American Airlines suspends staff after men are kicked off their flight for body odor. And TikTok confirms it offered U.S. power to shut down the platform amidst its ongoing legal battle. The details when Our News returns.
Fathers are so important in all kids' lives. My dad, he was my inspiration growing up. He taught us that hard work and grit. And, it was a little tricky being coach and athlete, but I loved every bit of it. I don't think that I would have had the success that I have today if it wasn't for my dad being involved. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers around the world. Thank you for all that you do for us. We love you. Alive. Believe. Invest.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. South Korea summoned the Russian ambassador Friday over Moscow's new defense pact with North Korea amidst rising tensions. The move followed threats and minor border incursions by North Korean troops and came days after Moscow and Pyongyang agreed to mutual defense. South Korea responded by considering armed support for Ukraine, prompting Seoul to protest to Moscow, citing violations of United Nations resolutions and threats to its security. Russia defending its actions, denying targeting any specific country. American Airlines has placed several employees on leave following an incident where black passengers were removed from a flight due to a complaint about body odor. 3 passengers have filed a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination in the January 5th incident. CEO Robert Issam acknowledged the incident as unacceptable and expressed disappointment in a note to employees. The airline stated it is holding those involved accountable and implementing initiatives to prevent such occurrences, including an advisory group focused on black passenger experiences. Conservative billionaire Timothy Mellon significantly boosted Donald Trump's presidential campaign with a $50 million contribution as disclosed by the super PAC MAGA Inc. According to Federal Election Commission filings, the PAC received over $68 million in donations last month that is, with Mellon's contribution being a substantial portion of that. Reports indicate Mellon's donation came shortly after Trump's conviction on multiple charges related to his business records. Mellon, an heir of the Mellon banking family, is known for substantial political contributions, including significant support for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential bid. His recent donation has enabled pro-Trump groups to outspend President Joe Biden's allies in recent campaigning efforts. And TikTok disclosed offering the U.S. government a kill switch to shut down its platform in a bid to address data protection and national security concerns. The offer made in 2022 was revealed as TikTok fights legislation mandating its sale unless its Chinese parent company ByteDance divests it. TikTok and ByteDance argue the law undermines internet openness and unfairly targets their platform. They claim the government halted negotiations despite their proposals, including a national security agreement outlining strict data protection measures. The legal battle set for oral arguments in September, with TikTok asserting its commitment to U.S. user data security and condemning the ban as unconstitutional censorship. And renowned American rapper Travis Scott arrested in Miami for disorderly intoxication and trespassing after a yacht altercation earlier this week. Police responded to a disturbance, finding Scott shouting and smelling of alcohol. Initially leaving when asked, he later returned erratically. Police say Scott acknowledged drinking, citing, "It's Miami." Despite legal issues from the Astro World tragedy, the Grammy-nominated rapper continues with his European tour starting June 28th. Still to come in our news, Today in History, find out interesting facts about the day that was June 21st. Then in our news at 7:30, the F&M leader slams government readiness for an impending NIB rate hike. And a man wins an appeal after being fined for 4 pounds of marijuana. The story when our news returns.
Is the dream of homeownership slipping away from the average Bahamian? With growing inflation and a widening wealth gap, are Bahamians being priced out of paradise? Join me, Berthany McDermott, as we venture into the heart of the housing crisis to find the answers. Hear from stakeholders, the government, those who overcame, and those still on the road to the Bahamian dream. Despite the challenges, hope remains. Discover the initiative that could turn the tide. Tune into RTV on June 26th at 8 p.m. for an in-depth dive into the affordable housing dilemma, only on RTV.
I feel like fathers are so important in all kids' lives. My dad, he was my inspiration growing up. He taught us that hard work and grit. And, it was a little tricky being coach and athlete, but I loved every bit of it. I don't think that I would have had the success that I have today if it wasn't for my dad being involved. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers around the world. Thank you for all that you do for us. We love you. Alive. Believe. Invest.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
Are you?
Welcome back to our news. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was June 21st. Take a look.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1907, William Edward Armbruster, a member of the Executive Council and President of the Legislative Council, died at 88. Armbruster served in the House of Assembly for over 20 years. In 2013, then Commissioner of Police Alison Greenslade voiced concern over the number of accused murderers roaming freely after police arrest and arraignment. Then National Security Minister, the late Dr. Bernard Nottage, reported that 354 murder accused were given bail over 6 years. In 2014, construction on a $39 million port started in North Abaco with a groundbreaking ceremony by then Works Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis. He promised a facility on nearly 4 dozen acres of land of environmentally sustainable work. In 2016, the man convicted of murdering businessman Kurt McCartney was sentenced to more than 4 decades in prison, while his ex-girlfriend would get a fraction of that time behind bars. The former couple, Thorne Edwards and Lindira Curry, showed no emotion. And in 2018, fired Hotel Corporation Chairman Frederick McAlpine fired back at then Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who told reporters his obligations under the Westminster system of governance, forcing him to fire 3 MPs who voted against the increase in VAT. McAlpine questioned what happened to that obligation when Dr. Minnis misled Parliament on the real date the OBAN heads of agreement was signed. In 2022, Prime Minister Philip Davis wrapped up a full day of activities at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. He was a featured guest at a major business forum while also speaking to the Bahamian media on issues he intended on bringing to the CHOGM floor.
We have our work cut out for us as leaders. We have to design businesses and innovations to ensure that we are making ready our young people for the work that's going to be available for the next generation.
Now in its 7th year, 5K, the J-Way, is set for this Saturday at Old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium, but it's not your typical 5K race. Organizer Donovan J. Roll tells Our News the event will have lots of prizes and surprises and will be a family fun affair.
We're going to be giving you prizes on the route, so every step you go, you're going to get things, and more things. And not just the swag bag with things, but you can come on out. And it's for, people say, who all could come to this run? It's for anyone, from the young to the old. It's a family event. It's family-oriented, so it's an engaging event. Everyone can have a good time, all fitness levels. We have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place prizes for runners, walkers, men, women, 12 and under, 13 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and 60 plus.
And Roll sharing what will make this year's event different from the others, as well as which organizations will benefit.
I think we have more interesting things this year. So it's going to be really interactive and fun, very surprising things. It's going to be one station I don't think anyone thought about before. So I think that's the really thing that's going to be special about this one this year. We have to be community-minded. That's the ethos of J Fitness. We're giving back to Reach Bahamas as well as Jenny Dean Cancer Support Group.
All right, to watch that story again, and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs and, of course, Our News Bahamas on Facebook. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now, Marlena Leonard. She's got the latest headlines. And Marlena, I know you've got a story coming up about a local dance company.
Virtue Dance Academy. Yeah, Virtue Dance Academy. That was my big surprise for today when I saw that. I was like, wait a minute, I used to go there. I did ballet there for a few years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember Miss DeVoe, and I'm just so happy for them that they're getting to take their show on the road. I think that's so cool.
All the way to Atlanta, right?
All the way to Atlanta. And they've really been putting in that work with young women for, like, I don't know how many years at this point. They're definitely a staple.
I'm looking forward to that story.
Me too. Thanks, Ken. Well, the F&M leader slams government readiness for an impending NIB rate hike. Plus, a man wins an appeal over a drug conviction. Here are your latest headlines.
Tonight on Our News, countdown to change. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, we are less than 2 weeks away from an NIB contribution increase, but the opposition slams government readiness. Also, the Grand Bahama Power Company responds to concerns over the rising cost of electricity, as residents claim their bills are exorbitantly high. Plus, a courtroom victory. A man wins his appeal after being fined $8,000 for 4 pounds of marijuana. We'll tell you the court's ruling straight ahead. And let's get this show on the road. A local dance academy heads to Atlanta. Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of...
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Marlena Leonard. In less than 2 weeks, National Insurance Board contributions will rise by 1.5%. Government argues the increase is necessary to salvage a rapidly depleting fund. However, trade unions warn the hike will only add to the financial burden of Bahamians. Berthany McDermott, who is following this, tells us amidst the controversy, the official opposition is calling for a comprehensive public education program.
With the implementation of an NIB rate hike just weeks away, opposition Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard is criticizing what he says is a lack of preparation. In May, NIB Minister Alfred Sears announced a 1.5% increase effective July 1st as part of the Davis administration's plan to save the Social Security Fund from depletion. A recent actuarial review recommended steps to secure the fund's stability, including an increase in contributions. However, Pintard argues government has yet to adequately address the public's concerns and provide necessary education on the impact of this hike.
I don't believe that the government has done enough to educate the public. And that may simply be a function of that they do not have the proper explanation for this general public.
During the mid-year budget debate back in March, Sears revealed contributions would increase by 1.5% every 2 years for the next 20 years to save the depleting fund. But the Office of the Prime Minister quickly clarified the statement, saying no decision has been made beyond the impending increase. Meanwhile, Pintard insists more needs to be done to prepare the public. Meanwhile, trade unions argue that the increase will further strain already struggling Bahamians, many of whom earn only minimum wage.
We believe that the government is still working this out as they go. And this is not meant to be tongue-in-cheek. We believe that this administration is being scripted and that they themselves are not driving this process.
Pintard took his criticisms a step further, comparing government's approach to public education on the NIB increase to its inability to address questions related to BPO.
The question is, one of the things we asked the government, did you run any of your models to determine what impact it has on revenue and whether any loss of revenue will affect your effectiveness and efficiency of running the corporation?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Residents on Grand Bahama up in arms over recent power bills, claiming a significant increase in recent months. Now the power company says there's been no rate adjustment, but Italia Hall reports residents are calling on the powers that be to have some leniency.
It seems like every year or every few months the power seems to be going up a little bit.
Tensions rising among some Grand Bahamians who say it's costing too much to keep the lights on. Customers of the Grand Bahama Power Company claim their most recent bills are unusually high and is now draining their pockets. This resident says it's been challenging for him and his business.
The nature of my business, I have a lot of freezer equipment, and it's been noticeable. And not only the price has been going up, but the power seems to be unreliable.
Benjamin Sands is of a different view. He shares how it's become an annual expectation to see an increase in his bill each summer.
The heat wave forces us to utilize air conditioning. And in doing so, your bill is expected to be extremely high, especially with the extra service charges that is added to it. That's the one that gets you.
But for Grand Bahama resident Simeon Ouden, who lives near the Casuarina Bridge, the high cost of electricity is a major concern. He claims his bill has doubled in cost.
We haven't increased anything, and so we were completely surprised as to why the bill has, we know it fluctuates, but for it to double, that's a completely different story.
He adds this is the first time he's received a bill this high.
I'm using a mini split. I'm living, fortunately, on the water, so the breeze is always accommodating.
Now GBPC Chief Operations Officer Nikita Mullings telling Our News the company is aware of the concerns from residents, but says there has been no rate adjustment.
Customers are seeing reflected on their bills is due to a higher consumption in the warmer months, where our appliances tend to consume more energy as the external temperatures rise. Additionally, the marketing conditions have also led to higher fuel costs.
She's encouraging customers to purchase energy-efficient appliances and to visit GBPC's social media pages or website for more information. Reporting for Our News, I'm Atalia Hall.
A man fined $8,000 for having almost 4 pounds of marijuana with intent to supply will have his money returned after winning his appeal. Kevin Ramsey was exonerated after the Court of Appeal found that the evidence didn't support his conviction. On July 27, 2021, police went into Bosine Town in search of drugs. While searching the bushes, the officers found a drawstring bag containing 4 large balls of marijuana that were wrapped in plastic. Ramsey, a resident of Bosine Town, was convicted after one of his fingerprints was found on the plastic that wrapped one of the packages containing the marijuana. The Court of Appeal ruled that the magistrate fell into error by concluding that the single fingerprint was conclusive evidence of Ramsey's guiltiness, given that the drugs were found in a public place. And we are learning about the establishment of the Presidential Search Committee for the next president of the University of the Bahamas. The Board of Trustees announced the committee in a statement today explaining how it will oversee the rigorous and comprehensive search. We'll get to that in just a bit, but for now, we've had a beautiful sunny start to the weekend, and hopefully the weather holds. Joining us now is meteorologist Greg Thompson in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg?
Thanks, Marlene, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions around the islands on this TGIF Friday. 85 degrees outside our studios, few clouds. It's still on the breezy side. The winds out of the east-southeast at 15 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 90 degrees. Satellite radar composite. Lots of high-level moisture moving out of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico across the central and southeast Bahamas. Not really going to be producing any rainfall, filtering the moonlight and some sunshine through tomorrow. And we do have a couple of isolated showers across the northwest Bahamas, courtesy of that stiff easterly wind flow that's bringing in some Atlantic moisture. System to the north of us, that tropical disturbance, that's going to be moving into Florida, North Florida, and South Georgia. National Hurricane Center really going to basically drop that one. Then we are going to continue to watch the one in the southwestern Caribbean for a high chance, medium to high chance for formation throughout the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. Look at your weekend forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, the search for a new UB president is on as a search committee is established. Plus, where Junkanoo Beats meet classical ballet, discover Virtue Dance Academy about to put on a uniquely Bahamian show in Atlanta. And Struggles and Dreams jumps from the stage to television. We'll tell you the story of how Janico Pratt and Bright Light Productions made the big transition when Our News returns.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucayas Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucayas Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucayas Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project, it's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucayas Solar Power Limited, powered by INTI, powering your world, powering your future.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer.
The Board of Trustees at the University of the Bahamas announced today the establishment of a presidential search committee, which will oversee a comprehensive search for UB's next president. The executive search firm AGB Search is supporting this process. Acting President Janine Hodder's tenure will end next June. Committee members include Allison Maynard Gibson Casey, Gadville McDonald, Debbie Williams, Henry St. George, Jasmine Romer-Roll, Dr. Marie Sayer-Singh, Shante Deal, Timothy Ingram, Gowan Bowe, and a person nominated by the Inter-American Development Bank. Maynard Gibson and McDonald will serve as co-chairs. For the full statement, you can read it on ournews.bs. And now to tell you parents out there about a youth retreat that might be the right fit for your kids this summer. It's called Ablaze, and it's focused on spiritual, mental, and emotional renewal for youth between the ages of 12 and 20. In 2022, 132 teens attended, and last year, the number grew to 162. Joining us now to talk more about the initiative is certified child and adolescent counselor Marisha Walker. Ms. Walker, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And so tell us, this retreat is being hosted by Life Worship Center's youth ministry,
yes.
Teen Life, and you're leading the charge. So what is the best part about this retreat to you?
The best part about this retreat is that school is closed and we are willing to take your teens away from you for 5 days from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., feeding them breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. They're in a space that is absolutely perfect for teenagers. It's safe. We have security. We have 60 adult volunteers who are going to be present to ensure that your kids are well cared for. We want to take them off your hands. We want to take them out of their environment. And I think that's probably the best selling point right there, that like you don't want them eating you out of house and home because school is closed, right? Mm-hmm. So I definitely think this is a great opportunity for parents to send their kids while they're at work and they're not just around home, hanging out, making trouble.
It's hard to find a spot for teens in the summer.
It's hard, especially for teenagers. Yeah.
And so for parents who are interested, how do parents sign up and register?
Parents who are interested to sign up their kids, you can just send us a message at 242-825-5433, or you can check out any of our social media pages at Teen Life Worship Center. We have a digital form. Everything is online. You can register online. You can pay online. All the links, all the information that you need is on all of our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, Threads, Twitter, we're all there.
All of the spaces. Now,
all of the spaces.
I noticed you mentioned it's called a retreat. So,
yes.
So can you explain why this retreat is different from a camp?
It's different from a camp because it's not as long as a camp typically is, like a summer camp typically is, but it's also at a fancy place. It's at Club Crush Atlantis, so it's not like outside, but also too, it is a getaway for teens. It is a space for them to wind down and to be exposed to different perspectives and So we're not trying to ramp them up and hype them up as much as we are trying to change their perspective and give them new lenses to look at life through. And so that's why we're calling it a retreat. We're calling it a getaway also too, because like I said, it lasts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we're taking a huge portion of your day. So that's why we're calling it a retreat and not necessarily a camp. Yeah.
Amazing. And so how can we and the audience help support this effort, and where can we find more information on how to help?
Well, listen, we are looking for sponsors. Just before we came into the studio today, I got a call that the Ranfurly Home wants to send 18 teens, and we would love to be able to support them. And so you can also, again, check out our social media pages. You can scan that QR code right there. You can make a donation to Life Worship Center. We bank at RBC and Commonwealth Bank. You can just make transfers there, as little as it is, whatever it is. We need your support in any way, shape, or form. We could take food. We will take snacks. We have a list of items that we can provide you with if you would prefer to make a tangible physical donation, because we are feeding 250 teens 3 meals a day with snacks. So we will not say no if you bring us a few boxes of chips and cookies, okay? So however, if we need water, we need drinks, whatever you can do, we are willing to accept donations in any way, shape, or form.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the studio tonight.
Thank you for having me, Marlene. I appreciate it.
Marisha Walker of Life Worship Center's Youth Ministry, Teen Life. And for more information on a Blaze Youth Retreat, be sure and scan the QR code on your screen.
When Our News comes back from the break, Virtue Dance Academy has been a staple for years, and now they're taking Bahamian excellence in dance to audiences in Atlanta.
Coming up in sports, the final day of training camp for our senior men's national team, and Mako Aquatics off to a big lead after day one of the national championships.
And from stage to the small screen, Bahamian production Struggles and Dreams is soon coming to a broader audience. We have the story from the creators on the long journey when Our News returns.
Is the dream of homeownership slipping away from the average Bahamian? With growing inflation and a widening wealth gap, are Bahamians being priced out of paradise? Join me, Berthany McDermott, as we venture into the heart of the housing crisis to find the answers. Hear from stakeholders, the government, those who overcame, and those still on the road to the Bahamian dream. Despite the challenges, hope remains. Discover the initiative that could turn the tide. Tune into RTV on June 26th at 8 p.m. for an in-depth dive into the affordable housing dilemma, only on RTV.
I feel like fathers are so important in all kids' lives. My dad, he was my inspiration growing up. He taught us that hard work and grit. And, you know, it was a little tricky being coach and athlete, but I loved every bit of it. I don't think that I would have had the success that I have today if it wasn't for my dad being involved. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers around the world. Thank you for all that you do for us. We love you. Alive. Believe. Invest.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your
This is Our News. Welcome back. The senior men's national team's training camp comes to an end, and Mako Aquatics already dominating the Bahamas' swim national championships. Here now with Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors, is Ronaldo Dorset. Ronaldo?
Thanks, Marlena, and welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. John Mark is out on assignment. Let's do show. Team Bahamas is in its final day of training camp. Let's head back to H-Town one more time to check in with John Mark and get an update. John?
Thanks, Ronaldo. Team Bahamas is wrapping up training camp before they head to Europe for the international friendlies, but we were able to catch up with Eric Gordon, who says this is going to be a collective effort for us to be able to qualify for the Olympics. The hero from Argentina, Eric Gordon, who just joined Team Bahamas a year ago, shows his veteran leadership, but knows it takes a collective team to be able to qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, like last year. I mean, we had a lot of our younger guys step up and make a lot of big plays for us to put us over the hump. And like I said, it's going to be a collective effort. It can't be just the older guys getting it done, and it's going to be a team collective effort.
While at training camp, Eric Gordon was also impressed with the young talent, seeing that the future of Bahamas basketball is bright.
Playing with Buddy and DA and in the group has been, such a fun experience for me, and we overcame a lot last summer to be in the position where we are today, where we're trying to be in an Olympics. So it's a great thing for us.
That's it in Houston. Next stop, Athens, Greece. Back to you, Ronaldo.
At the 52nd edition of the Bahamas Aquatics National Championships, Mako Aquatics got off to a fast start in their chase for a 6th consecutive title. Mako totaled 629 points on day 1 to lead the point standings. Barracuda Swim Club was second with 369 points, Alpha Aquatics was third with 283 points, Blue Wave Swim Club fourth with 244 points, and Black Marlins rounded out the top 5 with 140 points. Bahamas Aquatic Federation President Algernon Cargill said the influx of international athletes and the competitive nature of the local clubs will make this the biggest edition of the national championships to date.
There's swimmers from South America, the Caribbean, as well as Africa who are here to swim also. This should be an inspiration for some of our swimmers to actually swim against world record holders as well as other swimmers hoping to qualify for the Olympic Games.
The meet continues through Sunday at the Betty Kelly Kenning Aquatic Center, with morning sessions beginning at 9 a.m. and evening sessions beginning at 6 p.m. Basketball Smiles is celebrating its 25th year of using the sport to positively impact the lives of young Bahamians. The Texas-based philanthropic organization concluded its camp this week and hosted scores of aspiring players at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium. Sam Nichols, president of Basketball Smiles, said the growth over the last 2 decades has been mutually beneficial to both the campers and his visiting coaches.
We enjoy coming over and offering a free basketball camp and engaging with the young people and encouraging them to be good citizens, be good caretakers. We tell these boys and girls they are the future leaders of the Bahamas.
Legendary local basketball icon Patty Johnson met Nichols through a chance encounter at a coaches symposium, and the relationship with the Bahamas was forged. Since 1999, more than 12,000 boys and girls have participated in Basketball Smiles. Every camper receives a t-shirt, a school backpack, a Bible, and their own basketball at the end of the week. Let's take you into a busy sports weekend with the 10YS Plays of the Week. Coming in at number 5 from training camp, Buddy's not gonna like this play, but Franco will. At number 4, Wanya McCoy, getting closer and closer to that Olympic qualifying mark of 10 seconds flat, takes the 100 meters at the New Life Invitational in 10:03. At number 3, the insane year for the hurdles continues. Antoine Andrews runs a national record 13.35 seconds in the 110 hurdles. At number 2, most teenagers are spending June preparing for prom, getting ready for college, or making bad decisions. Sebastian Walcott is getting 4 hits in a pro baseball game. This story is going to be special. And at number 1, this was the moment we've all been waiting for. This was the moment that went viral. Bahamas basketball the way we always wanted to see it. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, young Bahamian dancers will soon be taking American audiences by storm as Virtue Dance Academy takes the show on the road to Atlanta, Georgia. And we've had a week of sunshine, but will that carry into the weekend? Greg is back with your extended weather forecast right after this quick break. Stay with us.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell? Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 The Gospel.
From the field to the fresh market, you will find fresh, delicious, mouth-watering produce and meat. Discover organic, specialty, and healthy grocery products for everyday cooking. Your adventure awaits. Experience the fresh escape. Sign up today for My Solomon Smart Rewards at Solomon's Fresh Market.
a decade ago, the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies was birthed out of a passion to change the way we travel. From only a $5,000 grant, the tenacity and work ethic has propelled BSGC to one of the leading road management companies in the Caribbean. We pride ourselves on going the extra mile where others won't, through the use of our state-of-the-art equipment and our certified team. Although the success is commendable, the road has been long. Yet, the mission continues in striving to be a world-class organization ran by Bahamians for Bahamians. With the help of our experienced and hardworking team, we at the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies are committed to making a difference, one road at a time.
Is the dream of homeownership slipping away?
Welcome back to Our News. Moving to the beat of Junkanoo and ballet to timeless classical dance music, Virtue Dance Academy has been a staple for years now. Working with young ladies from as young as the age of 2, the Academy seeks to teach students the art of dance while developing the holistic student with a special emphasis on nurturing the spirituality of each child. Academy Director Marilyn DeVoe says while she enjoys the art of performing, it's steering girls in a healthy direction that makes her most happy.
It takes a village, doesn't it? So we are part of that village that raises the children. And so we believe that our light must shine among them as well. And we believe that this day and time, you know, the things that are happening, it's getting very treacherous. And the ability of the students to stay focused, it's not as easy anymore. Their attention is distracted. So we believe that dance as a discipline helps them to focus.
The Academy will put on a show tomorrow night at the Sir Durwood Knowles Auditorium on Shirley Street. Here's what some of the girls are looking forward to.
I could perform and show what we've been working for and showing our hard work and, you know, ministering. At the show, I'm looking forward to perform. It's going to be my first time performing again. So I'm very excited. And for the trip, I'm looking forward to performing in front of a different audience. For the trip, I'm very excited because I get to show my culture and minister in a whole new state and a whole new audience.
Well, summer is definitely here, as we definitely had a day of beach weather today and still have a warm evening outside of our studios this evening. Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended forecast. Greg?
Yeah, thanks again, Marlene, and welcome back, everybody, for our final check of weather. We are still a little active in the tropics. Couple of disturbances that we were watching. The first one that is just to the north of the Bahamas. National Hurricane Center is basically going to watch that one run into North Florida, and South Georgia. Most of the activity associated with that system is well displaced from the center. And of course, we are looking at the one in the far southwestern Caribbean that's moving across the Yucatan Peninsula. The National Hurricane Center giving that one a medium chance for formation throughout the weekend, so we're going to continue to watch that. Should move into the area that Alberto formed and run into Mexico over the course of the next couple of days. At the surface around our area, high pressure is in charge, and that high pressure will continue to keep us a little bit on the breezy side for the central and southeastern islands. Some Atlantic moisture moving across us could lend us some showers and some isolated thunderstorms throughout the weekend. Taking a look at our future forecast. Patchy clouds across the area tonight through tomorrow. A couple of isolated showers in the forecast. That will be picking up by Saturday afternoon and into Sunday. And of course, most of the moisture will stay scattered, so we're looking for some scattered showers and some isolated thunderstorms during that time frame. Boating forecast for the Northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. We expect a caution flag mainly for the Atlantic exposures. Your winds will be east to southeast, 10 to 15 knots seas, 2 to 4 feet near shore, but up to 5 feet along Atlantic exposures. High tide is at 8:23 tonight. The low tide takes place at 2:56 a.m. tomorrow morning. Central and southeast Bahamas, a little stiffer winds down there. Caution flag still in place for you guys. Your winds will be mostly easterly, 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 7 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, spotty showers on Saturday and Sunday, as well as in Monday. We kick those chances up by the early part of next week, and then we have a couple of isolated showers by the end of next week, but temperatures will stay in the upper 80s to near the 90-degree mark. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 70s during that time frame. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Greg. Well, after experiencing success on the stage before the COVID pandemic, Janico Pratt and Bright Light Productions decided to reach a broader audience with their struggles and dreams on television. Along with his business partner, Kentario McKenzie, Pratt shares the story of a young man in the Bahamas trying to navigate the world of art and creativity in a place that dismisses his artistic ventures. Director Janico Pratt tells Our News about the process of transitioning from stage to the small screen.
We wanted to stick with the same storyline because we felt like it was something that could resonate with audiences. When we saw how the audience reacted in the show itself, we know we had to take it to TV just to reach a more broader audience. So it was fun though, tedious but fun.
Players, you have to learn every single line exactly how it's supposed to be, and then you only got one shot at doing it correct. Mm-hmm. With the screen, because I know Nico behind the camera, and that's my brother at the end of the day, I just ain't gonna learn the lines.
Well, this season of Struggles and Dreams will feature 6 episodes, and the audience can look forward to a cameo from a Bahamian artist every week. Episode 1 airs tonight at 8 p.m. immediately after Our News, right here on Channel 212. Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Marlena Leonard. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.